Hey guys, David Vogel here. As you all are aware, now is certainly a good time to start doing something extra. With the craziness in the world today, you know, it's it's tough to stay focused on something. And this is my first time doing a video, so you'll have to forgive me. Um, but one of the things I wanted to talk about today, and I get a lot of, I keep hearing about this everywhere. Um, in church, in my social circles, my friends, a lot of people are talking about what on earth do we do with the time we have right now. And for those of you who are working from home, how do you stay focused? I work from home. I've been working from home now for about a year, and there are a lot of different ways you can be productive with your time. And I wanted to highlight some of those, and I also wanted to talk about some systems that I have started to put into place that I'm really just starting to see some really cool benefit in my life about it. So, a couple of things I want to talk about today. One is going to be living your life by systems, not goals, and what that looks like on a day-to-day basis to help you feel productive and happy, and really to help you do the best that you can with your life to ultimately help others. Because at the end of the day, that's what this is really all about. And secondly, I want to talk about some different techniques that you can use to manage your time. If you're working from home, if you are unfortunately laid off, or you're just not sure what to do right now, instead of just sitting there browsing through Facebook and worrying over the news, there's some other things you can start to do to kind of feel better about where you're at in life. And one of the cool things right now that at least we have is a way to connect, and just try and focus on maybe using those tools that you have at your disposal to help you better yourself, and not just worry or just be a mindless drone browsing in Facebook all day. So, one of the things I want to talk about today is systems, all right? And not goals, okay? There's a difference here. And what this looks like on a day-to-day basis, and how you actually put this into motion. So we're going to actually talk about the system of systems. All right. So one of the things that I've been doing right now is, gyms are closed and it's tough to work out. And, I could work out. I'm looking at myself in my camera here and it's like, ooh, I could lose a few pounds. And I'm sure as I do this more, it'll force me to do that. But where was I going with this? One of the systems I use right now. So, so here you can have active systems, all right, things that you're doing right now, all right, and most of these, I think about these on a day-to-day basis, all right. So one of the things that I do right now is I'm always going for a walk, all right. At one point during the day, I'm going to go for a long walk. Okay? And you might be saying to yourself, is that really going to make a difference in how I feel? And I'll tell you, absolutely it will. And if you don't believe me, try it yourself. So one of the ways that I keep track of what systems I want to be doing every day is I'm going to be testing them. All right? Did it work or not? And about once a week on a Saturday morning, I'll try to sit down and go through these systems and see if they're working for me or not. I've got a bunch of other systems in my head that I might not be doing day to day that I want to keep track of. And so that might be something over here, systems to do. All right, these are some things that I would like to do more of in my day-to-day life. All right, one of these things for sure for me is going to be cutting back on some unhealthy foods. So maybe say, no carbs or no processed carbs. All right, and then maybe no processed meat. I think we can all agree that those two are probably not the best for you. They're caloric-dense foods, and they don't have a really high nutritional value in the way of nutrients or complex carbs or fiber. So if you remove these two from your diet, you're probably going to start shedding a lot of weight. And these are something that I'd like to start tracking a little bit more in my day. So at the end of a day, if I do these, I might reflect and think, do I feel better today for not eating carbs or not eating processed meat? Now, one of the ways you can keep track of this is using A and B testing. All right, you can Google this. There's a lot of different things that this could mean, but at the end of the day, it means you try one thing, try another way, and you basically look back and you ask yourself, did it work or not? In the case of grading a system that you're doing every day, you can just say, okay, I did this today. I went for a long walk. That may be your A test. How do you feel? And you might say, I feel great. Or for the B testing, you didn't do it that day and you felt terrible. So you sort of keep track of what works and what doesn't. And it's really that simple. Anything more complicated is hard to keep track of. And what the magic of systems and not goals is you're constantly reassessing and reevaluating, and you're making changes based on the outcome. Mainly, it's a lot how you feel, because your body and your brain is really a good judge of that, if it's working for you or not. So on any given day, it might not look like you're making a lot of progress, but I guarantee you, if you do these 3 systems every day in a year, and hopefully I keep this up and you'll see the results that I show you in a year, is that you will feel better, you're going to lose weight, and you're probably going to look better too. So these are just some simple systems you can put in place. And I said not goals here because most people think in terms of, hey, I'd like to lose 10 or 15 pounds. I'd like to get a 6-pack. Well, those are outcomes of doing stuff like this every day. And so the reason why I like systems and not goals is if you put yourself in the goal mindset, you're always in a state of failure. And what I mean by that is every day you look in the mirror and say, hey, where's my 6-pack? Or you stand on the scale and your weight is higher than what it should be, you're not meeting your goal. Until one day, you keep working hard enough, you do meet it, and then you're at a new goal. So you might be at a goal for like a year or two. You have one day where you say, I finally achieved the goal. And it will feel great that one day. And then you'll maybe update your goals. And so I like to do systems at a day-to-day level. That way I can track my progress, I can see what's immediately working, and I can feel successful every day as I go through this. All right? So if you have a lot of time on your hands right now, if you're unemployed, what I would strongly recommend doing is take the time you have right now to build up some skills. Make some systems. Maybe you'd like to read a book a week, or maybe you'd like to learn a new skill. You're at home, you have a computer. There's a lot of skills you can teach yourself with technology. You can learn video editing or graphic design or computer programming, which is what I do. You could learn journalism. You could start a blog. You could start a video log. You can start streaming. And guess what? That's one of my systems that I'm working on right now. And if you're seeing this, first of all, I apologize for the quality. This is my first time, and I'm going to be A/B testing, and I will see very quickly what works and what doesn't, based on little to no feedback or negative feedback. Whatever feedback I get, I'll start making changes based on that feedback. So one of the systems that I'm putting in place right now is, vlogging. All right? Video log, live stream, whatever. I'd like to at least do something online once a day where I'm doing this. Okay? And a lot will go into that, right? Because I have to decide what content do I want to present, what I want to share, what I want to talk about. And a lot of that is going to fall back under the feedback that I get. All right? And these are just my systems. They can be whatever you want for you. All right. So basically that's it, right? You basically have a list of systems. You've got something in the back of your head that you want to do. Like one of the things that I've been trying to do every day is I'd like to meditate a little bit more in the morning. I like to pray and read some uplifting spiritual things. And I can't do that every day. It's tough sometimes. And so maybe that's a system I'd like to put over here. Some time for personal reflection. So what I'll do is I'll come back here, maybe tonight or tomorrow morning or on Saturday. I'll go back here and I'll review my list of systems. And I'll ask myself, what's working, what isn't working, and I'll make some changes. And so the whole point of this is to keep it flexible. You've got to manage this list for what works for you. And the other thing too, and I've had quite a few people online, I've had a few guys approach me and I've seen this come up a lot in different threads on the internet, is how do you stay productive when you're working at home? What do you do? And so just to start a new topic here on the board, how do you stay productive? All right, number one, you've got to assess your systems every day. All right, if you have daily systems, and some systems aren't daily, like you might have a system here to check your air filter in your car once every 2 months, or in your house, your oil filter in your car every couple of months, or whatever. Those are things that are a little trickier to keep track of, but for the point of today's discussion, I just want to keep this at a daily level. So at the end of every day, just sit down and ask yourself, did you go for a long walk? Was it good or not? And keep track of it. If you don't keep track of it, it's really hard to evaluate whether or not it's working for you. All right? So you want to assess your systems daily. Do the A/B testing. All right? The other thing you can do, and I like to do this on Saturdays, is weekly review current, and to do. All right, systems or tasks. Sometimes they sort of make sense to call them tasks. All right, and so at a weekly level, go back and evaluate this list here and see if that makes sense to maybe change some things. I might come back and look at this and be like, boy, I'm terrible at doing these videos. Maybe I don't want to do that. I probably won't. I'm probably going to make adjustments and say, maybe I need to adjust my lighting or my camera or my microphone. Something like that. Or maybe I need to find better ways to engage you, the audience, with feedback on some things that I might want to cover. All right? And then secondly, there are some techniques. All right? You want to use techniques. Is that how you spell techniques? I don't know. I'm not the greatest speller. Use techniques. One of the ones that I use, and if you Google productivity techniques, you're going to find a ton of them out there. The key is to not get too sidelined by all the different ones. Just pick one and go with it. And the one I use is called the Pomodoro technique. Pomodoro. Or Pomodoro? Pomodoro. Is that right? No? Yeah, Pomodoro. Yeah, I get them so confused. Gosh, that's a mouthful. Pomodoro. Okay, my apologies, guys. The Pomodoro technique is all about really managing your day-to-day at a level of systems and not goals. And what you do is you do 20 minutes of work, or 25 minutes, or 15. Some small amount of work that's probably less than 30 minutes. Maybe it's 25, I think is pretty standard. So you work in 25-minute intervals. And at the end of each one, give yourself a break, and that can be whatever you want. A minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, maybe even 5 minutes. What I normally do during these breaks is I get up, I stretch my legs, get some water, make some coffee, grab some tea, take my dogs out, something where I'm not working and I can clear my head from the intense focus I've been doing. If you start one of these intervals, I strongly recommend, I'm looking for a timer, thought I had one out. I strongly recommend getting a kitchen timer or something that you can hit the start button on, or maybe like an hourglass or something like that. And the moment you get interrupted, you find yourself browsing Facebook, or you're searching for different music online or something like that. Somebody calls you and you get distracted. Immediately stop. You have to reset your Pomodoro at that point, and that's okay. All right. But the point is that you're going to have 25 minutes or 20 minutes or 30 minutes of uninterrupted time with no distractions, and maybe have some number in your head, like I'm going to get through X number of Pomodoros today with no distractions. And like I said, the moment you get interrupted, you have to stop it, and you have to go back and restart. Okay? I found that to be hugely helpful. And I personally work in shorter intervals just because, I get kind of crazy with my work. I like to drink coffee and I get really buzzed when I start working. And so I feel that I'm very productive in short bursts. And my chances of getting distracted in 20 minutes are a little less. But it will vary depending on your personality. All right? So after that, you're going to do, maybe like a 1 to 3 minute break. All right? And then you'll do like maybe 3 or 4 of these at a time, maybe more, again, depending on how it works for you. And then you're going to take a longer break, okay? So after you do 4 pomodoros, gosh, I can't say that word. After 4 pomodoros, longer break, okay? And I would recommend that break be at least the length of one of your pomodoros, if not double. So maybe that'll be around lunchtime or brunch or however you want to schedule your day. And this becomes a system, right? So this becomes one of your systems. And for me, this is an active system. All right? And you want to be very specific here, okay? So I like to stick with 8. All right? And there's a few reasons for that. But I like to try and make sure I'm doing at least 8 of these a day. And again, you can't be interrupted. So if you start one, like if you're at 25 minutes and you get to 23 minutes and you get interrupted, someone calls you, you get up off your desk, you stop working, it doesn't count. Okay, you still did the work, but this doesn't count for this number. Okay, so try and get 8 of these done. That's my personal system. All right, that ends up being about 4 hours of intense work, and you'd be surprised how much work actually gets done when you're really focused on something. Okay. All right. And then, what I do with the rest of my day, I might be doing things like checking emails or planning ahead or maybe looking at some online tutorials or learning something a little extra beyond the scope of, what has to be done right now will fall outside of this. All right. So normally when I'm in a Pomodoro, I'm intensely focused on getting work that has to be done, right? The work that my boss or my clients, they need it now. I mean, you know what that is. The stuff that stresses you out falls under here, okay? So that's it, guys. That's all I wanted to cover today. Basically, if you don't live your life this way, personally, I feel like you're sort of in a mindset of failure. And I don't mean to say that you're a failure. What I mean to say is that you're always in a position where you haven't met your goal yet, right? Well, if you haven't met your goal, that means you haven't found success, if you're living by goals, okay? So one day maybe you achieve your goal. I don't know what it is. It could be a year or 2 or 5 years out, and you have great success on that one day, and then what? Then you're right back to where you were. You have another goal, and you're in this constant mindset of like thinking, oh, someday I'm going to achieve this. Well, you can still have goals within this framework, and I'll talk more on that later. But you will feel so much better, and you will find yourself accomplishing so much more if you live by systems, like make habits. If your goal is to write a book or to create a music album, maybe you have a system, hey, every day I'm going to write 500 words or 200 words or 100, whatever. A/B test it. See what you can do and stick with it every day. All right? Maybe you want to create a movie. That would be awesome. Some of you out there, maybe you have a lot of time, and there's everyone has a smartphone. It's you certainly could make a low budget film, but instead of setting the goal here for that, you might have a system say every day I'm going to film 5 minutes. Or maybe at first you're going to do storyboarding or plot writing. I have not done any of that, so I'm sort of speaking off the cuff here, but I just want to give you an example of what a system would look like compared to a goal. And as you do more research into this, and then for those of you who aren't aware of this, because I know a lot of people are, but as you do more research into living your life by systems and seeing successful people, you will find that most of them look at life this way. All right? So that's it for me, guys, today. If you stayed this long, awesome, thank you. Please like, subscribe, comment. You didn't like it. Please let me know, because I'm going to be doing this, right? I'll be looking at this video and I'll be thinking to myself, okay, what did I do horribly? What do you guys didn't like? Or what do you like, or what can I do more of? And if I don't get any feedback, that's okay, because I feel I had success today doing that. If no one watches this video, I still had success because I made my system, hey, you know what, every day I'm going to film something. So that's all, guys. If you're bored and you're at home and you've got a ton of time on your hands, I strongly recommend writing out some systems. Think about some things you want to accomplish in your life. And at that point, you can think about goals, but then translate those into specific tasks that you can do every day that will help you achieve this outcome. But again, you'll find success in your day-to-day routine. All right, that's all I have today. Thanks, guys.